Testing, testing. All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming today. Thank you, guys. All right, so today we're going to be going over mastering showings and converting buyers. So what we are going to be learning today is how to research, how to prepare, how to handle objections, and then how to convert buyers into contracts, and what to do and what to say at the showing. So first things first, who here has gone on a showing in the last couple of months? Awesome. All right. Welcome in, welcome in. So what are some challenges you guys faced while you're at the showing? Commission? Okay. What else? Building a relationship. Relationship/or. Welcome in, welcome in. What else? Anything else? Any other? We're talking about showings. Today is all about mastering showings and converting buyers. And right now we're talking about any challenges we face at the actual showing itself. So any challenges anybody else has faced while showing a house? Payment, down payment, in terms of how much it's going to cost. Okay. Buyer financing? Anything else? Any other issues or challenges? High expectations. I'm talking about buying. At a showing, when you're showing a buyer. Maybe the opposite of that. High expectations of how good of a deal they can get. That's one of the problems that I had recently. Low ball offers. Okay. All right, so those are some of the challenges, right? Commissions, building rapport and a relationship with the client, buyer financing, and then buyers wanting to make low ball offers. So, and we'll get into those specifically, each one. But I first want to talk about preparing for the showing itself. Does anybody know who's gone through Royal Academy? What was the first thing that you guys have to do before going on a showing? One of the first things. What was that? What was it? I can't hear you. Yes, that's true. Yes. Yeah, buyer broker agreement. Write that in there. BBA, buyer broker agreement. So when we have to research. So what do we need to research? You guys remember the research triangle from Royal Academy? The neighborhood, the house, the comparables, and the buyer themselves. Right? We always try to gather some information, whether that's through Facebook or if they were referred to you from the referring agent. Want to gather information on the house, the market, the neighborhood. So research house. At very least, you should know everything there is to know about that house. You guys are saleswomen? So, when you go to a car dealership and you're trying to buy a car and the car person can't answer any questions, the car salesman can't answer any questions about the car you're trying to buy, what would you do? You'd be like, what the heck? I'm out of here. Yeah, you leave. So you need to research the house. How do we do that? Through the MLS. Right? We just research the MLS. You're gonna learn, you want to study that house, especially if your client is really interested in it. You need to know by heart how many square feet, how old is the house, what's the price, how much is the HOA, how much is the taxes, how long it's been on the market. You need to call the listing agent and you need to figure out, do they have any offers? If they do, are they close to asking? You also need to call the agent and find out the 4 major components, right? Because we don't see those on the MLS. The 4 major components of a house. Who can tell me what they are? Roof, electric, plumbing, AC, HVAC. So those things are not on the MLS. You're not going to see those on the MLS. So you're going to have to call and get that information. And you want to make sure you do that beforehand so that way if your buyer's interested and you're there at the showing and they're asking you these questions, you can answer that. Now, if you can't answer a question, how do we handle that? We don't know the answer to a question. Yeah, don't ever lie. Don't ever say, I don't know. Say, that's a great question. I'll find that information out for you. We'll get it in writing from the listing agent. All right, so in our preparation, we want to get a buyer broker agreement signed. We're just going to assume for this that we've already kind of done that beginning part. We've already done the buyer consultation. We've already got the buyer broker agreement signed. I'm talking about actually showing the property and turning it into a contract, into a pending deal. So we want to research the house. We want to show up early. Show up early, especially to the first showing. We want to show up early, maybe at very least 15 minutes, 30 minutes early. Because you want to get in that house, and the way I like to do it is I like to schedule the first house as the one that I think they'll like the best. Because I can get there early, I can turn on the lights, I can run around with Febreze and spray the house. I can make sure the windows are open, the blinds are open, so that way all the natural light is coming in. And then if anything's dirty or messy, I can, maybe clean it up a little bit. Go ahead. Yes. Yeah, because you're showing an open house, right? You're basically doing the same thing. So show up early. In your preparation, you should have MLS sheets printed out. You should have your business cards stapled to those. And then if your client is really interested, you probably want to have some sort of market analysis for that area. What happened? Everything okay? Okay. Any questions about prep? So show up early, research the house. You need to know everything there is to know. You're basically selling a product, right? We're using like a car salesman as an analogy. Car salesman's got to know everything there is to know about the car to sell it, right? They're going to be able to tell you everything there is to know. So you need to be able to tell everything there is to know about the house that you're showing. And then show up early so that way you can prep that house for a good showing. And then bring MLS sheets with business card attached. Okay? All right, now conducting the showing itself. This is a lot like an open house, right? If you guys have done an open house, you got to be smiling, you got to be happy. Don't over talk. Ask questions. We want to ask open-ended questions. The showing process is a continuation of the buyer consultation. So you're basically treating the showing like a further step in an interview. So a lot of times people ask me, how many houses should I show? So sometimes you're going to have buyers who are coming in from out of town, and they're only here for a small window of time, and you've got to show them 20 houses in a weekend. You do what you have to do. But if you can help it, if the buyer's local, if they've got time, they're not in a rush, try not to show any more than 5 houses a day, because it's just going to be taxing on them. It's going to be taxing on you. And if you're showing more than 5 houses, you're probably wasting your time, or you didn't do the beginning phase, the first couple of steps of this correctly. So you're conducting the showing itself. You want to smile. You want to be happy. You don't really want to share your opinions of the house. It's hard because you might walk into a house and go, oh, this house stinks. Or, oh, this house has terrible flooring. Or, oh, whatever, right? Oh, the kitchen's horrible. Keep your opinions to yourself. They don't care about your opinions. number one. And then number two, you might say something that offends them because they live the same way, right? What if they live in a house that's dirtier than the one you're showing? And you go, this house is disgusting. Or, you mentioned something about animals and they have a bunch of animals. Or, that kitchen's nicer than the kitchen they're at now and they're offended by that or something. Also, you want to avoid saying obvious things. This is the kitchen. It's like, obviously they can tell it's a kitchen. You don't need to point that out. You want to point out specific things like this is crown molding or these cabinets are soft close cabinets. Don't say this is the living room. This is the kitchen. This is the sink. You want to point out specific upgrades that they might not have noticed. Okay, don't say obvious stuff. And then try to walk them into the middle of the room and stay out of small rooms if you can. So like, let's say there's small bedrooms or you're going into a bedroom at all. You want to walk them through the house, but you don't want to necessarily crowd the space, right? So if I will tour them through a house and I'll guide them, but then I'll kind of maybe take a few steps back while I'm talking to them. Let them kind of explore an open space. Or if they're going into the bedrooms, I'll stand in the hallway or just outside the hallway while I talk to them and they walk into the rooms. You don't want to overcrowd a space because then it can make a normal space feel small. So we're going to tour them, right? The biggest question is, do you tour them or let them wander? You always tour them. You always want to be in control. You as a salesperson, you want to lead the tour, you want to lead the conversation, and you want to be guiding them, pushing them to the next step. So conducting the showing, we tour them. Don't overtalk. Don't share opinions. And stay out of small rooms. Now, while you're conducting the showing itself, you want to point out those upgrades, those renovations. You also want to remain positive. You want to highlight the location. And here's the thing, guys, is nothing you say will force a buyer to buy a house that they don't like. So you don't really have to worry about being a salesman when it comes to that. You're not selling the product. You're not selling the house. You're there to help them and to guide them. And then if they like the house, if they want to buy the house, you're there to help them make that decision quicker, easier. Okay? So just be happy, smile, shake hands, give them all the information they need, gauge their interest. At the end of a showing, every single time, you should ask them to rate the home on a scale from 1 to 10. You should ask them to rate the home on a scale from 1 to 10. Did everybody get a sheet? Did you give everybody a sheet? I always ask them to rate the home on a scale from 1 to 10 because eventually what this will do is it will get them to make an offer much quicker. So, you might show them 5 houses the first day and, every house kind of was okay. They didn't maybe love it, but, one of the houses got a 7 out of 10. Like, okay, so it was all right. You liked it. It wasn't perfect. Maybe we keep looking. But now you can use that house as a reference point for every other house that you show them. So now when they say, hey, I want to see this house over here on 123 ABC Street, and this house, 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 and you say, hey, I know you said that one that we saw was a 7 out of 10. This one that you sent me today is actually smaller. It's more expensive, and it's got less bedrooms, or it doesn't have a pool or whatever. Where do you think this one's going to fall on that scale? Just curious. And they say, they're going to probably say, I don't know until I see it, or they might give you a number, then you can say, okay, well, why don't we just hold off on that one? I think some of these other ones might be better. You really don't, you want to narrow down how many houses you show them. You really only want to show them houses that you and them agree match what they're looking for. Because if you're out there just showing a million houses, you're wasting your time. So always ask them to rate the home on a scale from 1 to 10. I always say once we start hitting 8s or 9s or 10s, then it's time to start making offers. And I set that expectation from the very beginning. Say, hey, at the end of today's showings, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to rate the homes on a scale from 1 to 10. And we're going to see these houses today with the expectation that if we see one you like, we're going to make an offer on it. Are you prepared to make an offer if we really like one of these houses that we see today? And they're going to say, yeah, if we really like it. Or if they say no, you say, then why? You got to get to the bottom of why aren't they prepared to make an offer? If they're not prepared to make an offer on a house, if they like it, then why are we going to see them? Does that make sense? Why are we wasting our time? I could be prospecting. I could be meeting with for sale by owners. I could be shooting social media videos. Why am I wasting my time? And I don't want you to think of it as a waste of time, especially when you don't have anything else going on. But eventually we've got to get really efficient with how we work with buyers, because buyers will run you around and they'll waste your time if you let them. So we've got to be careful in narrowing that down. So scale to 1 to 10. We start getting to 8s, we're going to start making offers. If it's an 8, maybe we try to get a good deal. If it's a 9, we try to get you what you want, but we got to come in close. If it's a 10, maybe we should offer asking price or more so we make sure you get that house. Does that make sense, Mr. Buyer? Go ahead.
So what if there's someone out of the state and they're waiting to sell a property?
Yes. So they would be making an offer. So a lot of buyers need to sell a house in order to buy a house. I'd say maybe like 25% of them, right? So you will run into this situation. All you're doing is you're making offers contingent upon the sale of the home that they need to sell. So it's still the same process on this side of it in the showing of the home. It's just when it's time to make an offer, that part is a little bit different. So when you go to make an offer, you have to make that offer contingent upon the sale of their other home. We'll get into that another time. All right, what are some common objections that you guys have faced? What are some common objections when you're showing the house? What are some common objections that we hear? The home is priced too high? Home is overpriced. What else? What was that? The location? Yeah, definitely. That could be one. That would be something that you really can't. It's like, okay, well, now we know moving forward, you don't want to be here. So let's go look, we won't come back here to this location, right? Like you should be narrowing it down. Like if they say, oh, it's the location, that could be the city, it could be the area, it could be the neighborhood, or it could be just, the houses where it's at. It's like, or it could be, oh, it's on the corner and it's near the main road. There's so many different things. You really can't overcome location. Like that's one of the things that we have to overcome in preparation, right? Okay, if you don't like the location, we can never change the location. You really can't change the location. You can change the house. I mean, we can even knock the house down and build a new house, but you can't move the location once you buy that location. What else? I'm thinking more so, I guess I'm looking for what objections are holding them back from making an offer on a house they kind of like. Yeah. Yep. We want to think about it. Want to think. What else? It's right here. Want to think about it. Will the sellers take less? These are some of the most common ones. Will the sellers take less? I don't know if you guys can read my handwriting. What do you think we should offer? What should we offer? Any other objections that we commonly hear when we're showing houses? Well, this tells me is you guys aren't showing enough houses. We got to go on more appointments. Urgency. Yeah. I mean, all of the above. I mean, you know, lack of urgency, we'll say.
I got a client and say, I want to wait till the interest rates go down.
Yeah. Okay. Want to wait for interest rates.
Or prices, vice versa.
Slash prices. Okay. These are all objections that we hear a lot. So nothing you can say will sell the house, right? But there are some things you can say that if they like the house, to help them make an offer. So that's what we're going to go over right now. So these are common objections. And the home is overpriced, right? We want to wait for prices to come down. What I like to do is we got to understand them first, right? Everybody remembers how to handle an objection. There's 3 components. Show them you understand, reframe the way they think, and then handle the objection, right? Share information. So the home is overpriced, or we're waiting for the prices to come down, or we're waiting for interest rates to come down. What I always want to ask is, hey, I totally understand, price is important to you. I want to get you a great deal. I understand wanting to get a great deal. But let me ask you, what's the most important thing to you? Is it the price? Is it your monthly payment? Or is it how much you come out of pocket to purchase a home at closing? And they typically will say, I guess it's a mixture of how much I come out of pocket and how much I pay monthly. You say, great, well, what were you wanting to pay monthly? And this is kind of, some of these are better handled in the prep work than at the showing. Sometimes you can't help it, you get them later on. But this is the kind of objection we would handle in a buyer's consultation before we go show houses. But let's just say we're doing it at any point in time. So, hey, I ran the numbers on this for you. You told me you were wanting to stay under $3,000 a month. That's about average right now. This home, at this price, if we were to get them to pay $10,000 towards to buy down your points, it would put you at $2,800 a month. You told me you wanted to stay under $3,000 a month. You said you liked this home. It falls under what you said you wanted to spend per month. Is there anything else that's holding you back from making an offer on this house today? Do we understand what I did there? I understand you. I want to change how you think. And now I'm going to share information with you and try to close you again. The down payment is now holding you back. Again, these are things that we would handle in the buyer's consultation. When we're getting them pre-approved with Lewis, before we go show houses, this is what we would handle at that point in time. If you're already showing the house and you're handling it now, I mean, you've skipped a few steps and you've gone straight to the showing. You're going to do that sometimes, but you try to uncover those things before you go see houses, right? So we know, we're not going to go see a $400,000 house if they're not approved for a $400,000 house and they haven't heard all the numbers from Lewis yet, right? It's like if you were my buyer, before we go see houses, during the buyer consultation, I'm going to get you pre-approved with Lewis. Lewis is going to share with us how much is your down payment, how much is your monthly cost, what price can you afford, all that good stuff. And so we're going to know, and I'm going to ask you if you're comfortable with all this, or I'm going to ask you in the beginning before we go see houses what's most important to you. That way, I don't waste my time showing you houses that don't fall into the category of what you said you wanted, right? You said you wanted a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1,500 square feet in St. Cloud. You said you wanted your mortgage payment to be under $3,000 a month. You said you only wanted to come out of pocket, 10 grand. This checks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all of those things. Is there anything else holding you back from making an offer today on this house? And then they'll say something like, we want to think about it. Right? Or they'll say, there might be something else. So we're just, you got to understand with any objection you face, there's three components. There's telling them you understand and basically relaying to them what they just said back to you. It's a mirroring effect. Reframing the way they think, sharing information, and going for the close again. So any objection you face that's how you handle that objection. So we want to think about it. Anybody have any idea on how we would handle that objection? Want to think about it. Of course you want to think about it. You could pull out an Andy Elliott. Of course you want to think about it. I haven't given you enough information to make a decision. Common Andy Elliott one. Anyways. Yeah, exactly. So that's the reason why they want to think about it, is because there's not enough information. We haven't given them enough information. But in reality, when you guys are handling objections, you don't want to break rapport. You don't want to come off as too pushy. You're there to help them. And so we want to think about it. Hey, of course you want to think about it. This is a huge decision. Is there anything that you feel like you're missing? What is it specifically that you want to think about before we make an offer on this house? Just go deeper. A lot of times objection handling is just going deeper into why they're saying what they're saying. So we want to think about it. Okay, hey, I understand this is a huge decision. What is it specifically that you need clarity on before you're ready to make an offer on this house? And then now what you're really doing is you're going to uncover their real objection. Oh, we just want to make sure, that this is financially going to work for us. Okay, well, I've already run the numbers on this house. We got you pre-approved. You said you were comfortable with $3,000 a month. This property is $2,800 a month. It's a 3-2, 1,500 square feet, just like you asked. It meets this, it meets that, it meets this, it meets that. You basically want to destroy the objections in the prep work. Does that make sense? So long as you're only showing them houses that check all their boxes, there's no objections, right? If they have an objection, it's only because they need help. They need help making the decision. The decision is already, they've already told you what they wanted. You found them what they wanted. They just need someone to support them in making their decision, right? All right. Will the sellers take less? That's a common one. I hear that one all the time. Will the sellers take less? Just made an offer on a property the other day. It's $25,000 under asking. And she asked for a home warranty. And she asked for them to pay her closing costs. And it was contingent upon a sale of another house. It's like, it's probably not going to get accepted. We made the offer anyways. But will the sellers take less? Hey, I totally understand you wanting to get a good deal. I want you to get a good deal too. However, let me do this for you. When I go back home tonight, I know you really like this house. You said it was a 10 out of 10. Let me run a comparative market analysis on it to tell you exactly what I think it's worth. Let me call the listing agent, find out if they have any offers on the property already, and let me find out if those offers are at or below asking price. And then I'll call you. We'll go all over the numbers, and then we'll decide on what to offer. So I'm not necessarily saying, yes, they'll take less. I basically am saying, let me run the numbers first. Let me do a CMA on this specific property. It's one of 5 that I showed you today. And then let's go through it, objectively to decide on what to offer the sellers. Does that make sense? So now what I do is when I get on the phone with them that night, I say, hey, I ran the numbers, it's at X price. My numbers came in at X price range, right? Let's just say the house is listed for $300,000. My numbers might come in between $290 and $310, or $290 and $300. And so I might say, hey, here's the thing though, they do have another offer on the table. They just got an offer over the weekend. And so if you really like this house, we need to come in at asking price. Or, hey, they don't have any offers. My CMA came in a little bit under what they're asking. Here's the reality. You can make an offer and try to get a good deal. The worst they can say is no, but they will most likely counter offer you. And at that point, you've got to be ready and willing to negotiate with them. Does that make sense, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer? And so, will the sellers take less? If there's no offers, it doesn't hurt to try. But how much do you like this house? You said it was a 10 out of 10. It meets all the different things we asked for. I ran a CMA. The CMA supports the list price. I recommend you offer list price. Buyer asks you, what do you recommend they offer? What do we say? Let me run the numbers, but then yes, most of the time I'm going to say list price because that's what they're asking. Hey, they're asking for list price. You said you really like this house. Let's offer them list price. Let's offer them what they're asking. You said this house is a 10 out of 10. So now let's talk about closing them. So wait, where's that sheet at? There was a, is there an extra sheet anywhere?
Of those?
Yeah. Can I borrow yours real quick? I think there was a exercise as a real estate agent guiding a buyer. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of us. Lewis, do you mind? Do you mind doing this exercise with us? We're making even numbers. All right, we're gonna break into groups of 2 real quick. You two partner up, and then you two partner up. All right, and then we're just going to we're gonna role play. So what I want you guys to do is one of you act as a real estate agent, and the other one play the buyer asking questions. Okay, and your goal is to get them to say yes to making an offer. All right, we're just going to try it, and then we'll refine it. Sound good? Okay. Actually, we're good.
We're good?
Yeah, I'll just oversee it. If you want to listen in and talk to them. Understand and reframe and share. Of course. Big decision. All right, stay with us. We're going to go over closing and question and answers. Questions and answers in about 5 minutes. You gonna help this guy? You gonna help this guy sharpen up or what?
I got him to say yes, but I said only if Trump's sloppy beard.
Listen. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. Good. Javier's a closer, by the way. Professional.
No, you can say, hey, that's totally we can get him to come do a with you.
Say what now?
I went through a lot of like normal questions. What other questions are you wanting us to role play?
As the realtor, I want you to ask the right questions, position the buyer to agree to making an offer. Then you're good. So you find out the right information, position them to make the offer, and then close them on, getting them to say yes to making an offer on this house. All right, for those of you watching on band, the next step that we're going to be going over is closing the showing to get them to make an offer. So in closing the showing, the very first thing you want to do is ask for feedback. You want to ask them. To rate the home on a 1 out of 1 to 10. Always ask this question. And so anytime you get a rating that is 8, 9, or 10, that is a good signal for you to go for the close. Okay? So I always like to ask, what did you like most about the home? We're getting them to focus on what they like about the home. And then we're going to offer to show them the next steps in making an offer and going under contract. And so those next steps are going to be for you to talk with the seller and find out if there's any other offers on the property. Now, once you have that information, you can better guide the buyer to the type of offer they need to make, right? If there's already showings on the property, then obviously they need to write a competitive offer. They need to be competing with these other buyers. If there's already other offers. If there's no other offers, then maybe there is some room for them to try to negotiate and get a good deal. But still, you want to base your offer on facts, not on a feeling. So it's important for you, if this buyer is interested, for you to write up a CMA. Now, obviously, you want to be objective in your CMA. So you want to pull good, sold, and pending comparables, and then tell your buyer what price range you think this home falls in, and then ultimately set the expectation. You kind of want to curve their expectation a little bit. You want to say, hey, if you come in under asking price, the chances of your offer getting declined or counter offered are high, right? So anytime we come in under asking price, we need to let these buyers know, hey, chances are the sellers are going to reject your offer or they're going to counter offer you. I just want you to know that in advance. So we get them to write an offer. Now, during this period, we want to share with them everything that they're going to need to do if their offer gets accepted. We want to start preparing them, right? So we've got to talk to them about, how much money they need to come down out of pocket, how much money they need to put into escrow, how much time they have for their inspection period, and then letting them know that if for any reason whatsoever they want to cancel, they need to cancel within their inspection period in order to get their escrow payment back. It's important that we share that information with them. Also, there will be an appraisal. There'll be a final walkthrough in school and on Royal Realty Experts. We have something that you can send your buyers and sellers once they go under contract that will share with them all the different steps and all the things that they need to do once they're pending a contract. That's already in there for you guys to make your lives a little easier. You can study that as well as you can share that with them. It's in school and it is on our website. Something to send your buyers or your sellers once they're under contract. It shares all the steps. So stay tuned. We are going to wrap this up here in a few minutes. We're going to talk about closing, and we're going to do a Q&A.
Let's just say that was one of the let's go back to how we talked about. So understanding the objection, you're reframing it.
How'd it go?
Good. She did great.
She's a saleswoman. Good. They had a great open house this weekend. 9 people? It's not bad.
3 groups.
Okay.
Okay, so the first group, so they showed up. This Hispanic, like 2 women, older women, Hispanic women. They kind of came out of the blue, so I had to improvise. And yeah, like my mom really helped me in improvisation. She's very quick to answer questions and stuff. So basically, one of them, her name is Olga. She's looking to buy. She was asking me about lots. I was like, yeah, I totally work with lots. Like, totally work with lots.
Yeah.
Lots of like 1 or 2 acres, because she's like, she said she lives in New York, I believe it was, so she lives out of state, and she's like wanting to like buy something here. She wanted to buy an acre to build a house. Yeah, something like that.
Did you get everybody to sign in through Lofty?
Yeah.
Good. Did you make sure that they were on automatic emails on the MLS? Everyone's on an automatic email on the MLS?
MLS, I don't have the MLS yet, but I'm going to get it soon.
Okay.
We have an anchor for sale.
I do have an anchor for sale in Lake Nono, which could be good for them. Did you call them after the open house? Okay. You need to call them today. You need to call every single person today, and you need to get with either Ashlyn or Malcolm because they both have MLS access, I think. Ashlyn does. You need to get with Ashlyn. You need to set everybody up on an automatic email for what they told you they were looking for. And then you need to call them and you need to say, hey, I sent you an email. It's got some properties. And then for each person, find 1 to 3 that you think they're going to like and schedule a showing with them while you're on the phone. You got to do that today because if you wait any longer than today, it's going to be more than 24 hours. They're going to forget about you. All right? Make that a priority. All right. Go ahead. All right, everybody ready? Everybody done? All right. Let's wrap this up. So, how do we do? Everybody feel confident in getting a buyer and make an offer after a showing? Confidence? Yeah. Confidence? Okay, good. All right. So, don't ever argue with the buyers if they make a negative comment about a room or a condition. Sometimes just good to just say nothing at first because they may still buy the home anyways, even if it has a small room or whatever condition that they saw they didn't like, they may still buy it. See if that objection comes up again. It may not. Nothing you say will make a small room large or increase the size of a backyard. Sometimes if a buyer loves a home, they will buy the house anyways. And remind your buyers that the most important thing is area, the location. That is the most important thing, because you can always fix things in the house. You can always change something. You can always change the paint. You can always upgrade. You can always knock down a wall. Or, you can always do those things, but you can never change the area. You can never change the location. All right, so steps to closing the offer. Okay, so now your buyer says, yeah, let's do it. Let's make the offer. Let's write it up for $400,000. Now what? Now what? Where do we start? So what I want you guys to do is start with the MLS. Start with the MLS. So let's say you showed them a house that they like. You're going to pull that house up on the MLS. At the top of the MLS, there's a little button. It's kind of hard to see sometimes, but it says Form Simplicity. You're going to click that Form Simplicity button. It'll automatically open up a window in Form Simplicity with a majority of the information already filled out about the house. So start with the MLS. Go to Form Simplicity. And from there, we're going to find the right paperwork to send the offer. So starting with the MLS, there's this little paper clip. Let me show you guys. There's this little paper clip in there that should it should have the disclosures. So first things first, you need to download all the disclosures off of that listing. Right? We're talking about seller's disclosures, HOA disclosures. Maybe there's lead-based paint disclosure in there. Could be anything. So here's what it looks like. So let's just say you went and showed your buyer this house today. You say, yeah, let's make an offer for $570. Let's do it. Okay, great. That's $500,000 right there. So that's a corner lot too. So there's the paperclip. See the paperclip? Paperclip? There's the Form Simplicity button right there. You see that? Everybody sees these things? So paperclip, Form Simplicity button. Sometimes the paperclip won't be there. That's because the listing agent was lazy or whatever. They didn't get all the disclosures that they needed to upload it into the MLS. So you'll have to get those disclosures from the listing agent before your buyer makes an offer. So we'll click the paperclip, and then we would download these to the computer. Okay, I would just click this, and it would automatically download to the computer, or I guess I have to download it, save it as, we'll just save it, why not? Okay. So I saved those documents to my computer, okay? Now, what I do is I click Form Simplicity. I may not be signed in. We'll see what happens. Okay, great. So here's what happened. See how it preloaded the address, parcel ID number, legal description, MLS number. We saved ourselves some time. It saved to a transaction. And then I'm just going to put the street address, it's residential, and my client is going to be purchasing it. Save to a new transaction. Bam. So now I've created an e-file on Form Simplicity. Okay? Create an e-file on Form Simplicity. Add forms packages. Which one do you think we're going to click? The offer package, because we're writing an offer. Add it to the transaction. You got that? All right, now there is an issue with Form Simplicity. I don't know how to fix it. Maybe we need to get on the phone with tech with them and see why this is happening. But some of the stuff it was supposed to auto-populate, it didn't auto-populate it. But here's the documents we're going to need. The as-is contract. The HOA disclosure, because it's in an HOA disclosure. It's in an HOA. We're going to need, if it's older than 1978, we're going to need a lead-based paint disclosure. If my buyers are FHA, we're going to need an FHA disclosure. If my buyers have a property that they need to sell first, we're going to need a sale of buyer's property addendum. If let's say they're not FHA or they're not VA, but they're conventional, then we would need an appraisal contingency addendum. So just to keep it simple for you guys, you need the seller's disclosures and you need the as-is contract. Why don't we write this down? Everybody got a pen and paper? Or maybe in your notes somewhere? Everybody's got an iPhone or an Android, obviously. So go to your notes and write documents needed to write an offer. In your notes. Documents needed to write an offer. Documents needed to write an offer. In your notes. That way you always have it on you. Ready? Okay. Number one, as is contract. And by the way, guys, we're just talking about a standard, normal, everyday house. There's different contracts for different types of properties. This is just a normal, standard house, okay? Documents needed, as is contract. HOA. Lead-based paint. FHA-VA. FHA-VA. Sale of buyer's property. Sale of buyer's property. Appraisal contingency. Appraisal contingency. Appraisal contingency. Seller's disclosures. Seller's disclosures. Am I missing anything? Did I hit it all? Yeah, I said HOA, FHA, lead-based paint, as-is contract, what? FHA-VA is already there. HOA disclosure, seller's disclosure, lead-based paint disclosure, sale of buyer's property disclosure, buyer broker agreement. You put BBA, buyer broker agreement. And if it has solar panels, you need a solar panel. Solar panels disclosure. All right. Those are the documents we need to be able to send an offer. Now, remember, it's important to coach your buyers and to set the expectation. If we're offering less than asking price, you need to almost purposely create doubt that their offer is going to get accepted. Okay, you need to be very pessimistic up front with them about their offer getting accepted. Say, listen, we're coming in under asking price. They're most likely going to reject your offer or counter offer you. It doesn't hurt to try. We can try, Mr. or Mrs. Buyer. But I want you to know that they will most likely reject your offer or counter offer you, at which point we will need to negotiate to find a middle ground. All right? So on form simplicity, you would fill these out, right? You click into it. So I click into the as-is contract, and I would fill it out. I'd put the buyer's name, I put the seller's name, I put the price they're offering. We have this, guys, for you. That's a totally different class. Purchase price, escrow amount, title company, which we can find on the bottom of the listing. For the most part, Magnolia Closing, right? Seller's preferred closing agent. So that would go here. And we'd fill out all this information. We give them, 24, 48 hours to accept. You always want to give them a little more than 30 days. You never really want to give 30 days. You really want to be safe and do 35 to 40 days to close. May not assign this contract. You would check that it's contingent. You'd fill out all this information here. It's a FHA loan, blah, blah, blah. You fill in the blanks. If left blank then 15, you put 15. It's not in Miami-Dade, so you leave that alone. If your buyer wants a home warranty, you make sure to ask them if they want a home warranty. Seller shall pay installments prior. Buyer shall pay installments after. Filling in the blanks. Anytime it says if left blank then blank, put that number. Inspection period is maybe the one time you don't do that. Typical inspection period is going to be 7 to 10 days. I always try to have competitive offers and put 7. For any reason whatsoever, they can cancel within 7 days and get their escrow payment back. I usually will tell my buyers that if you decide that you want to cancel outside of those 7 days, you should expect to lose your escrow. So if you're for whatever reason you change your mind, do it in the first 7 days. There are ways to get your escrow back if you cancel outside of those 7 days, but I don't like to let my buyer expect that because it's tricky. Other than that, we scroll through all these. You would check anything that goes with this offer. So if it's in an HOA, we would check HOA. If it's an FHA buyer, we would check FHA. If it's older than 1978 and has a lead-based paint disclosure, we would check that. If it's contingent upon the sale of buyer's property, we would check that. If it's in Miami-Dade, or if it's you're buying the property for yourself or something like that, you would check one of these. So this class, we do this class about once a month on how to write offers. It's also in school and on our website. So you can watch it at any time and learn how to write an offer. Also, you guys get to the point, just call me. You're ready to write an offer, just call me. Or Cleo, or Javier, or Fran. Just send us a message and we will help you guys. We will walk you through however many offers you need us to walk you through. However, it is available for you at all times on our website and through school. Everybody have the legal hotline number? My phone's over there. Does everybody have Florida legal hotline? The number saved? Can you send it? Can you airdrop it to everybody real quick? Anytime you have a question about a contract or about verbiage in the contract or about a legal matter within a deal, what I want you to do before you call me is to call legal hotline. I'm here for you guys always. But you talking to an attorney first will be better than talking to me. The only reason I know what to do and what to say and how contracts work is because I probably had more conversations with attorneys than anybody you know. Anytime I had an issue with a contract, I would call Florida Realtor Legal Hotline 3 or 4 times and talk to 3 or 4 different attorneys to get 3 or 4 different opinions. So I'm not saying you guys need to do that, but at least try to call once before you call us. Because what I'm going to do is you're going to say, oh, I've got this really specific question about line 613, and my buyer's asking me this question, and this thing happened. I'm going to say, well, what did legal hotline say? And I expect you to say, well, legal hotline said this. And I'll say, yeah, that sounds about right. Or you know what? I see it a different way. So if you can send that to everybody. Your homework. Schedule a showing. Schedule a showing. If you guys don't have any buyers, who here has family or friends that live around here? Everybody? Okay. Schedule a showing for them and go practice. Schedule a showing and go practice. Practice the actual scheduling of the showing. Practice what you're going to say while you're there. Practice getting them to make an offer. Practice writing the offer. Right? Don't send the offer, but practice. Get out there and role play with your family or friends. And then even while you're there, shoot a video. Shoot a video for social media. This is what you can get in St. Cloud for $400,000. 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 2,000 square feet, blah, 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 blah. And then post it on your social media and watch your friends and family reach out to you to buy a house. That's what happens. So this was just a little breakdown of converting buyers. I don't expect you guys to be experts after today's class, but I expect you to be just a little bit better every time you attend a class, every time you go through a course on school. You're not going to feel super confident with this until you've done it 10, 20, 30 times. The key is to prepare. The key to being confident and being successful is to prepare. The better you prepare, the less objections you'll face. The more professional you'll seem. The more experienced you'll seem. When you get there and you know everything there is to know about the house, and you've had a great buyer's consultation and you know everything that they want and need, you showing them a house is much more likely that house for them to make, a deal on, because you've done the prep work. So show up early, research the house, research your buyer, know exactly what they want and need, make sure they're approved with Lewis, bring your MLS sheets and your business cards, be ready to handle objections. Anytime you get an objection, we tell them, I understand you. Hey, here's one way of thinking that's different than what you're thinking. Here's some information. Now what do you think? Right? Understand, reframe, and share info. And then every time you show a house, the expectation should be that that buyer is going to make offers that day. Don't just go show houses just to show houses, right? The expectation should be, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, we're going to go see houses today. I'm going to go show you 5. At the end of the day, I want you to pick your favorite house and let's make an offer. Will you be ready to do that if we find a house that you like? If they say yes, then you're good. If they say no, then maybe you need to ask yourself, is this a waste of time? You need to ask each other, is this a waste of time? Am I showing houses for no reason? If we find a house that you like, why wouldn't you be ready to make an offer? What's holding you back? Maybe we need to accomplish that first before we go see houses. Does that make sense?
So I have someone, they live in Illinois, and they want to come, like, sometime this month for like a week.
Okay.
Then they're not looking to buy anytime. They're trying to buy in like the summertime. So what would I do? And they're waiting to sell.
And they're what?
They're waiting to sell their property.
Gotcha. And they have a property they need to sell. 2 of them. Do they have a real estate agent yet?
They said they're looking to sell within the next 90 days.
Are they already listed?
They said no.
You need to get all the information about their houses that they're trying to sell, and you need to find an agent over there and refer them so you can get a referral commission. Every time you're working with a buyer, whether they're in state or out of state, and they have a house they need to sell, you need to make sure you're listing that house or you're referring an agent to list that house, because you can send a referral anywhere in the world. That's 25%, depending on how much those houses are worth. That might be thousands and thousands of dollars. So you need to make sure you get the information for those houses. Either get on Zillow or Google. I can help you with that. Let's find out exactly where and what the addresses are. We'll find the best agents in those areas and we'll introduce them. And when they sell those houses, you'll make a referral commission. Okay, we'll work on that before you leave. So set the expectation that you're going to make offers, and figure out if they're ready or not. If they're not ready, then maybe you need to do some prep work. So for your people, they're obviously waiting to sell these houses, and they're waiting till summer. So right now, what you really need to do, where did you find these people?
I got them from social media.
Social media, okay. So you don't necessarily know them yet. So you do need to figure out a way to make, if they're going to be here for a week, what you should probably do is invite them into the office, have what we call a buyer's consultation. This is where you sit down with them, you go over their wants and their needs, what they're looking for in a house, you get them pre-approved with Lewis, and then you show them on a computer or on the TV what's on the market that matches their criteria, and then maybe go take them to see a couple of houses, or drive them around, maybe go look at the lakefront, or where are they looking? Kissimmee, St. Cloud?
Lake Nona, something near the airport.
Lake Nona? Perfect. So go take them to lunch in Lake Nona. Go show them Boxy Park and the hotel, the Wave Hotel, and go show them all the cool stuff that's over there. Go show them the hospital and the all the parks and everything. And then while you're there, maybe stop into a new construction community and register them in the new construction communities. You really want to build rapport, right? So like I say, don't waste your time, but in some situations, it's not necessarily a waste of time to build that connection and build that rapport with them. So I think you also need to dig deeper and figure out, is it just, like, why are they waiting until summer? They say why?
It's because they want to move before summer, so because they have kids.
Oh, well, summer's in 2-3 months. So they need to start yesterday. Yeah, so there's really they're not waiting. So when they come down for that week, they should be ready to make offers, because typically it's going to take 30 to 45 days before they close. And depending on if they go new construction or if they buy a pre-existing home, that could be more, or it could be 30 days. So, I mean, it sounds to me like they're probably ready to go now. So when are they coming?
They didn't tell me specific dates. They just told me a week in this month. Because I was on the phone with them, we were just talking about everything that they wanted. I sent them all the email, like how
Okay.
they follow through,
Good.
what they wanted. So when I spoke to her, I sent out another one because she didn't want Winter Garden anymore.
Okay.
So and I texted her today. I resent it. Just look through it.
Good. Good. So narrow down when they're coming. Find out those dates. And then I would say also kind of narrow down what they're looking for. Do you know if they told you how many beds, how many baths, how many square feet? Have they been pre-approved?
They didn't say how much the square feet. They said they want 4 beds, 2.5 baths.
Okay.
And they just told me the area, someone with good schools near the airport because the husband travels a lot.
Flying in and out, yeah. Well, have they been pre-approved? Do you know?
They said they wanted to hold off on that because I don't know. They just said they wanted to hold off on that.
Okay. Let's talk in detail in a little bit. All right, guys. Thank you for coming today. Get out there and schedule some showings. Do some open houses. Veneris had an open house this weekend, and it's pretty successful. So just a testament to being in the right place at the right time. You guys, if you're doing open houses and you're posting on social media, you heard that, right? He said he posted something on social media and he found somebody, a buyer who wants to sell their house and buy a house. Social media works, open houses work. You have to work. You've got to treat this like a job. If you treat it like a job, it'll be the highest paying job you've ever had. Okay, but you've got to show up every single day for yourself and do what you know you're supposed to do. Schedule your open houses, shoot your social media posts, make your calls, get into the CRM and follow up with people every single day. Talk to for sale by owners. You don't have to talk to 100. Talk to 2 or 3 every single day of the newest ones and go on those appointments. If you guys just do that right there every single day, you will be successful. You'll be wildly successful. You just have to put the work in every single day and show up every day. All right, guys? Get out there and crush it. We'll be around for a little bit. If you got any questions or you need any help with anything, we'll talk.